again, friends. Welcome back to the www.plaidavenger.com, where we just don't want to hear the news. We want to understand the news. And the hugest news story that's come out of 2010 thus far is, of course, the gigantic earthquake, which has completely and utterly leveled the small Caribbean nation of Haiti. For its part, the international press has swarmed in like locusts to give us nonstop feeds of the death and destruction, the human misery and suffering, without ever actually telling us a damn thing about what's really going on there and how they got to this state. And of course, people around the world, when they see these images, get all bothered and they get upset and they say, oh, I want to give money or blood or food or water or international aid. How can we help? And the quick Plaid Avenger answer is a little, too late, baby, because this place needed help about 100 years ago. Now, those who watch the Plaidcast, they're a little bit savvier bunch, you guys, and you're asking the right questions, which are, why is it they can't get international aid into this place? How come they can't move things around? How is it that this place sucks so bad? And those are all great questions that you need answers to in order to understand today's world. How did they get to this point of being the suckiest nation in the Western Hemisphere? Because that is why they've gotten leveled by a single natural disaster. Great questions all, intense questions that deserve at least decent answers, and I'm going to try to provide those for you. However, it is so complicated, we're going to have to divide this up into a 3-part Plaidcast in which we'll deal with the major topics at a time. We'll entitle this one, Why Haiti Sucks. And we'll break it down into Part 1, its bloody birth, Part 2, problems with its peoples, and Part 3, the political repercussions of Part 1 and 2. Let's start with the bloody birth and this horrific aftermath, shall we? Now, you can't understand why Haiti sucks so bad today without going backwards in time a little bit. And before we get to that very brief history of the bloody birth of this place, let's look at the state of this state. If you don't know this already, Haiti is one of the most impoverished nations on planet Earth. I mean, impoverished. It is certainly the poorest and most destitute place in the Western Hemisphere. That's our side of planet Earth, the Americas. And it's actually quite embarrassing that you have the #1 economy on planet Earth, the U.S., about 200 miles from the absolute lowest GDP in the Western Hemisphere, and that's Haiti. It's like our backyard. It's kind of sick. However, how did it get to that point? I mean, this place is developmentally challenged. It's wildly corrupt government-wise. It has virtually no economy to speak of. And it's environmentally challenged. I mean, you don't even need to see the political lines drawn on a map. You can see satellite imagery of Hispaniola, which is the island Haiti's on, and there's a stark line. You can see a line, a contrast between the Dominican Republic and Haiti. On the Haitian side, it's complete and utter environmental destruction. There's no trees, there's soil erosion. It's just destitute. It's just screwed. Why? How did this happen? All right, there we go. Now let's back it up. Now we've painted the picture. This place is terrible. It's terrible, which is why a single natural disaster like this earthquake has completely just leveled it. How did it get to be in this situation? Well, let's back it up then. Let's back up the boat, so to speak, figuratively and literally. 1492, Columbus sails the ocean blue, and kablamo, he bumps into Hispaniola, which is, of course, the island that Haiti has the western third of. The eastern 2/3 is the Dominican Republic. Back in the day, though, it was all Spanish territory. The Spanish crown, remember Columbus sailed under the Spanish crown. The Spanish crown used it as a launching pad to go forward and take over the rest of the Americas. They went into Mexico, killed all the Aztecs in the southwestern United States, and of course eventually absorbed most of South America. And very early on, the Spanish they had settlements there, but as they progressed into the rest of their empire, Hispaniola became kind of a secondary thought. Nobody really cared about it. But the Spanish might not have cared about it, but others did. Namely, the French. The British were floating around there taking over territories as well, but the French came in. And by 1625, French buccaneers, aka pirates, had taken over the island of Tortuga, which is the northern part of Haiti. Tortuga Island, where have I heard that before? Oh yeah, Pirates of the Caribbean, man, Johnny Depp and all that crap. Tortuga Island, that's right. That's part of Haiti. And so very quickly, all of Haiti became a French colony. And the French imported lots of French people, but also tremendous numbers of African slaves. And we'll get to this in the next podcast. But tremendous amounts of African influence and huge numbers of African slaves come to this colony. And over the course of the next 100 years, this becomes one of the crown jewels in the Frenchies' colonial possessions. Meaning, Haiti, while it's absolutely destitute, poor crapola in today's world, by the 1780s was rich as hell, producing shit tons of sugar and coffee and indigo. It was making the French a lot of money. At its highlight, Haiti probably produced 40% of the entire world's sugar, probably 30% of the entire world's coffee. I mean, we're talking about big money here. But of course, the Haitians are soon going to want a country of their own, not under French colonial rule. And do keep the timeline in mind here. I said 1780s. It's a huge, rich colonial possession of the French. What else is happening about that time on planet Earth? Oh, yes. 1776, the Americans had a little revolution. And they wrote this cool thing called the Bill of Rights, where it said all men are created equal. That's awesome. Yay. And they kicked out the Brits. But also in 1789, the French have a revolution. Yeah, the French Revolution, 1789 to 1799. And they write this cool thing called the Declaration of the Rights of Man, in which they pretty much say all men are created equal. And it's not a historical coincidence, friends, that in 1791, the Haitian Revolution starts. And the Haitians pretty much had taken the American Revolution and the French Revolution's words to heart. And they said, oh, really? Frenchies? So we're a French colony, and you say that all the French are created equal, all men are created equal. Well, then we're a bunch of slaves here that are overseen by a very, very few white French dudes. But you're saying we're all equal. So we want a voice in this society. We would like to have our own country, or at least be free. And the Frenchies, for their part, the French Revolution is kind of chaotic. People are going back and forth saying, oh, what did we mean by that? What did we mean by this all men are created equal? Are we going to grant equal status to slaves in colonies? They really didn't know at the time. By 1794, they kind of said, yeah, okay. Because the Haitian uprising started with a slave revolt that gained speed, gained momentum, and they actually started beating the French. So by 1794, the French government said, okay, hey, we're losing this. So guess what? Yeah, you're all emancipated. You're free. And by the way, you're all French citizens still. You're free, so you don't need to have a separate sovereign Haiti. So you need to help us now. You're French citizens. Help us fight the British who are trying to invade. The Haitians did. The former slaves that were now free stood up and said, okay, we're Frenchmen. Cool. We'll help repel the British. And they did. And these are guys pretty savvy rebel fighters at this point. And by 1801, the former slave/rebel group had taken over the island under the leadership of one General Toussaint L'Ouverture, a freed slave himself. And he pretty much had de facto control over the island. And people thought, well, everything's okay. It's all good. Except the Frenchies changed their mind. And by 1802, under Napoleon, said, oh, by the way, psych. We take back the whole freeing the slaves business. We want our rich colony back. We need the money. And we're not so sure about the whole equal rights of man thing anymore. But I'm sorry, the genie was already out of the bottles, Frenchies. God, you guys should have known that. And the Haitians, already a serious fighting force, were like, bullshit. You're not coming to reimpose slavery back onto Haiti. And when Napoleon sent 40,000 European troops and shit tons of weaponry to suppress the Haitians and put them back into a slave colony status, all hell broke loose. And I'm being serious, hell on this earth broke out in what we call Haiti in today's world. In 1802 and 1803, this Haitian revolution gained even more steam and turned ultra bloody and violent. Thus, this bloody birth of the nation. 1802, 1803, it's a blood bath. Napoleon's forces, really no holds barred. Total war. Kill people, boil people alive, plant them in anthills, throw them to crocodiles, slaughter prisoners, kill civilians, and for their part, the Haitians returned in kind. Tens of thousands dead in this very, very traumatic bloody birth of this nation. By 1804, the Frenchies are purged out.